you for joining us for Accelerating Indiana's Progress. I'm your host, Stephanie Sample, and today I am here with Representative Randy Truitt from District 26. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Representative Truitt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to the State House?
Well, I've been serving on the West Lafayette City Council I was in my second term, and the opportunity to come to the House was presented, and it was something that gave me, again, another opportunity to serve the constituents of the place that I've called home. I was born and raised in West Lafayette, and with my 3 children, we're now a 4th generation West Lafayette family, and so having an opportunity to impact the lives of not only individuals in District 26, but throughout the state of Indiana is something that I really looked forward to, and now it's really kind of a very humbling opportunity here to actually be ready to start session and be able to make a difference, hopefully, for the Hoosier families.
Well, you talk about how much you love your hometown. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the issues that are specific to your district?
Well, just like most districts, economic development is first and foremost in many individuals within District 26. And economic development also parlays into education. Purdue University, I represent kind of a diverse area. I have 5 school districts in my district. Ivy Tech and Purdue University are also in the district. So education and economic development are 2 components that are very important to not only District 26 but to the entire state as a whole.
Awesome. And what role is a budget going to play, do you see, for your district, and what are your goals moving ahead?
Well, I think that right now we need to be sympathetic and compassionate to the working Hoosier. I think families are struggling from Evansville to Fort Wayne and all areas in between, and I think from a budget standpoint, I think it's going to be important for individuals to understand the situation that the state is in, because with the local government modernization and activities surrounding Kern and Shepherd, we're going to have local government reform that's also going to be taking place, and depending on how all those items actually play out, there's going to be an impact to the taxpayer. So we need to be good stewards of taxpayer money. We need to do our part in making sure that we're being frugal, but also investing appropriately in areas that are going to bring the biggest return on that taxpayer investment. And that's something that I'm looking forward to taking my city council background and being budget and finance chair and working creatively on not only putting together a budget, but more importantly communicating that to the constituents of District 26 so that they understand what is really happening down in the State House, because communication in times of toughness that we're going through right now is going to be first and foremost and going to be paramount.
Great. You talk about some of your specific areas of expertise. What about your committees? What committees have you been assigned to, and what kind of work will you do?
I'm really excited about local government. That was one area where I thought that I could really leverage my expertise and my skills, and I'm looking forward to serving in that capacity. I'm also on courts from a judicial standpoint, so I'm looking forward to participating in that. And then interstate commerce is another one that I'm also going to be participating in. But the local government is where I really see myself getting involved, and it's going to be kind of a hotbed, I think, beside the budget, that's going to get a lot of activity and a lot of attention, and so I'm looking forward to participating there.
Awesome. What kind of feedback are you getting from constituents about some of this local government reform?
Well, it runs the gamut. I've met with a variety of different individuals and organizations. Libraries, for example, are very concerned about the modernization and the possible consolidation of libraries. I've met with all 5 superintendents of the schools that I represent. They're also very concerned. They're more concerned from a standpoint of the investment in education, making sure that that doesn't get diluted. But they're also concerned about consolidation or the magic number, whatever that happens to be. So when you have a district as diverse as District 26 is from a school district standpoint, each of them brings something different to the table. So it's going to be very important to make sure that I'm a good listener and that I'm available and approachable. And I like to think that I am very approachable. And I've had some great conversations with just individual constituents too that are kind of providing their input and feedback back on what they think Indiana should do going forward. And I wish we could implement all the things, and you hear some very interesting ideas, but those ideas is what makes a solution that we're going to be dealing with right here on the State House floor real. And we want to make sure that we're creative in what we're doing, because we only have a tiny amount of money from a standpoint of what we have to deal with and what we have to invest. So we're going to have to be creative and look at things differently than what we've looked at in the past. And property tax reform is something that we talk about and I hear a lot about from a standpoint of making it permanent. I think all the individuals that I've talked to are in favor of the property tax relief, but they vary in regard to the permanency of it and how it's made permanent. So there's going to be some education that's going to need to take place there in order for people to understand why it is important to make the permanent property tax relief actually permanent. One of the things that I've talked about when I've met with groups and organizations is how important it is every year to make sure you communicate with your legislator and elected officials. Make sure that they understand what you're feeling and what you're going through. So I would just encourage the constituents to reach out, not only to me, but to the other elected individuals, including city and county. One of the things that's going to come down the road here is the improvement that's going to be necessary as it relates to collaboration between all levels of government, state, city, county, townships, the whole gamut. And it's going to be something where all these specific entities are going to need to really work closely together, because what one does will impact the other. Same thing holds true with the school. With the general fund now being controlled at the state level, it's going to be very important for the individuals at the state to make sure that we do a good job communicating back to the school board members and the school officials, so that they understand why things are being done the way that they're being done. And we just want to make sure that if we're going to hold our schools accountable, that they're given the power. We can't be, in my opinion, we can't be running down a path of where the one with the power is not being held accountable. And so that's something that one of the superintendents in my area hit me over the head with multiple times, and that's part of the problem that he feels that he's facing right now from a school standpoint, is that the one with the power of the state is not being held accountable, and the one that's being held accountable, which is the local schools, don't have the necessary power in order to change things. And so that's one area that I think we're going to have to really keep a close eye on. It's going to be an interesting session, to say the least.
What do you think the General Assembly's role is going to be in facilitating some of that communication between those different levels of government?
Well, I think that I talked about being approachable. I think the first thing that we have to make sure across from top to bottom of the state is that the individuals of the General Assembly are approachable, and that they're reaching out to the individuals in those other bodies of government, because I know in our area we're blessed with the level of approachability. It's been improving over the years from a county to a city to a state perspective. That's something that I'm very proud of our area. But I know other areas there's not that communication. There's the territorial belief and different egos and all these different areas, which is okay. But what we have to be aware of is that in order for it to work the way that it needs to work, all those areas are going to need to come together, and it starts with the communication and being approachable at all levels. I mean, I would say that to the mayor of a city, is that you have to reach out to your elected state officials and make sure that you're doing a good job communicating with those individuals as well.
What are some upcoming events that you're going to be having in District 26 where people can come and approach you?
Well, we will be planning, I think, as my schedule becomes a little bit more known to me, and I know when I am going to be available within the district. We are going to have, I don't know if I want to call them town hall meetings. We will have town hall meetings outside session, but I want to have plenty of opportunities. I mean, we have our third house that meets every other week starting on the 17th. That will be, again, a great opportunity for all of the elected individuals from the General Assembly to have a chance again to communicate, and then also to hear back from the constituents in that capacity. But we're going to have open nights of communication where people can come in and have a chance to communicate. And of course, you have the good old email and other forms of communication that are always available for individuals if they need to communicate. But I just have to encourage every individual to reach out and make sure that we're communicating.
Great. And we will run all of your contact information at the end of this segment.
Great.
And I hope you'll come back soon and talk to us again once session gets rolling.
Absolutely. Would love to.